Well, hello on an unexpected day. Dave and I have been going back and forth a little bit over the last few days after our opportunity to sit with Chantel and the wonderful feedback that we got from that beautiful little authentic girl. It made us begin to think of other aspects of what's going on right now. And so we decided that this morning we were going to address some of those things, Dave and I. And so here we go. Do
Yeah,
you want to
boy,
begin?
sure. I mean, you got us off to a nice start. Um, I'm sitting in my garden, even though there's a photographic backdrop that's sort of my Zoom backdrop, and there's Kim Jim's ship from February
Mhm.
3rd. There's going to be occasional interruptions with traffic or sirens, and if I go silent, it's just because I can't hear you, and then I'll wait till it passes. Yeah, really great vibes. What a special person, right? She's just a
Yes.
dear little heart. And you know, when I started watching her uh channel on YouTube, I just went, she's such a nice person. Let's get her on Lowell's uh site and let's get her exposed to your community. And it was nice. I could tell that some of the members of her community got onto your channel, which was nice, and left her some compliments. And really, I think the whole idea behind Tribe is, we've got to support each other any way that we can. And she's such a genuine little spirit. And I can tell by her demeanor that she's probably a shy person, and she's soft spoken. So it's a nice change for me, because I'm so loud and I project. So j'ai énorme. I have such a loud presentation. So it's good for people like me to be in touch with people like her because it helps me calm down and it helps me be a little bit more insightful about my tone. And so just being around her, I can tell. And even though it's only, electronically, being around her was nice to help bring it down a little bit. And so after she had finished interviewing with us, I had this very interesting feeling about staying in our own lanes, like you talk about, and integrity, and
Yeah.
being mindful of what we know, and being very careful not to use other people's information and claim it as our own. And see, she's very genuine, and just like some of our other very close friends, you know, I
Yeah.
I can't get through my life without my friend Laura. Laura, who came to visit us in Shasta.
Yes.
She's such a sweet, genuine person, and she's a miracle with plants and animals. And she lives up in the mountains in North Carolina, and she works with little creatures and has beautiful culture garden, and everything's organic. She's just fascinating, and I don't know what I'd do without people like that. And we end up collecting people, don't we? Because you resonate closer to certain members of the tribe. And
Yes.
for me, I'm a big guy. I'm 250 pounds. I'm 6'4", and I'm a big loud bastard. So it's nice to be around people who are a bit more gentle and subdued, because it allows me a chance to reflect on my own behavior. And as I was thinking that, then I called you. In the evening, we finally got a chance to catch up, and Lowell and I were talking about how people want to be in connection with Tribe because Tribe's such a beautiful place to be. And what's really interesting, and Lowell and I, and many of you are going to know this, is that when we're together, we don't need to talk to each other. When we're together, we just need to be around each other. It's like
Yeah.
we're not here to sell something to each other. We don't have to,
No.
we're not here to convince one another of our experiences. And we're certainly, you know, genuine members of Tribe don't listen to other people's information and then regurgitate it as if it was their own. And so I had a message from Source, and it was funny because Lowell received the same message. And believe it or not, um, Robin and I had a chance to talk yesterday. and such a joy to talk to her. And I had some customers, so I had to hang up on her and call her back a few times. But Robin was in touch with the same thing, as she had received some form of information about staying in your own pathway. You can't fulfill your obligation as either a teacher or a healer or an ambassador unless you concentrate on that which is your own divine gift. And the gift, I can't deny it. Meeting Kim Jim was like meeting Jesus. I was so not to slight anybody who believes that Jesus is the only divine being, but that kind of powerful love and compassion also exuded from him. And so I've seen Archangel Michael once in my life, and that was many years ago when my wife became pregnant with my son. And I went down to the beach on hearing the news and us, being very happy. And then Archangel Michael came to me from the ocean, from the horizon. And I felt like I was alone. And the sky boomed with thunder. And I heard him say, "David, everything will be fine." And then he disappeared. It was just amazing. And I wasn't raised in a religious family, but I'm very close to the love of God, because humans need to call source God. So I don't differentiate between the two, because God is the creator of all things that are loving and full of light. And so when we make references to Christ's love or to Jesus, that makes me feel good, because Jesus only represents pure love and pure compassion and forgiveness. And so it's always wonderful to call upon Jesus, just like any other angel that we pray to, because they're all heavenly messengers of source. But
He's an
when
ascended master, and he's
totally
evolving like the rest of us. He
right,
tried to tell us about all the things that we understand now, that God was an element
right,
of us, that we're sparks of source, and that's what
right,
we're
and
here to
gosh,
help it learn more about itself. That's what we're here to do.
right. When he physically manifested and traveled the world
Yes.
2,500 years ago, he was telling us the things that we needed to know to protect us now.
Yes.
And thank God for that message. And many of us receive similar messages from our heavenly guides. But so, Robin was feeling the same thing, that our heavenly messengers, they guide us. They ask us not to try and define the divine message in a way that controls it, but to try and share it. There's a
Yeah.
difference between sharing that which is divine and trying to describe that which is divine. And for me, it's almost indescribable. Our language just falls short of
Yeah.
saying, I can't describe the feeling of being bathed in heavenly light. And so when that heavenly light touches down and reaches members of tribe, it makes it so that we don't have to convince each other of what we know.
Yes.
We
I
just
like to
accept.
think I'm reasonably intelligent.
Sure,
But there
are
are
you
some
kidding? You're
things,
highly intelligent.
there's a level of feeling. Yeah, I went to get coffee this morning on my way back. That was what had occurred to me again. When we start to feel things, this comment that like I got this morning, and all of this kind of precipitated while Dave and I were talking about this topic yesterday,
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
how we watched some of our colleagues around us, and they clearly have some type of a gift that they're in touch with. But along the way, all of a sudden, every time they hear another topic, they want to assume that they have a mastery over that topic too, and that's what they want to speak about. So when Dave suggested the idea that we should stay in our lanes, that's exactly what it is. I don't talk about the things that I have no concept of. When my references to beyond earth sentience have come from what Dave has brought to the tribe. And I know that that's true. So when I talk about them, I reference Dave because that's Dave's thing. Just in the same way that when I when we talk about inner earth things, that's where I've been. I can't talk about Kim Jim Although I know from Dave that there are things that Jim has talked about that apply to me, and that's how I knew that. But my contact has not been with that, so I can't speak to that the way that Dave could. But then the same realm, some of the friends that we had that were wonderful at describing sacred geometries, when they get outside their lanes and begin to talk about other things, um, it tends to confuse people that weren't aware of any of this to begin with. And it's counterproductive. Plus, then you can definitely tell when somebody's ego has kicked in, when they feel like they have to say something. That's why when you and I decided to do these types of things, although we suggested we would do podcasts once a week, I long ago I never wanted to do this because I couldn't think of anything that if I was going to decide to do it once or twice a week, I'm not that interesting. I don't have that much to say. So,
You do.
I'm
You
not
actually
interested.
do.
Well, I do, but I didn't think that way. So I wasn't going to host a
Right.
podcast and have,
Right.
people come in and, we would talk about these other anomalies. We were going to talk from experience. And that was the other point that we wanted to make. I
Right.
have two distinct perspectives I carry with me all the time now. And the first is my three-dimensional reflex on situations that are created and presented to me, and then you react. Just like every other human being, I have the same emotions y'all have. However, I also have my higher aspect that rides shotgun and allows me to see things from that perspective. So, um, when I hear other people kind of getting outside that, they've lost my attention.
Yeah.
And it can be a quiet place. There was a period now where Dave and I really haven't been that present. And it's just, we don't have, there are times we have things to say, like today, and we thought that it was relevant to talk about things, so that people can get back into the idea of stop listening. And I hate to say that because I I need to respect everybody else's sovereignty and their unconditional love and their respect for one another. So when I say stop doing something, that's almost a command I'm trying to give you, and I don't really want to come across that way. But at the same time, be mindful about the talking heads that you pick to listen to. When you can, find real experiencers that can speak about what they talk about and stay inside their lanes. Those are quality resources rather than somebody talking about somebody else's experience. And the YouTube is full of that. It's really hard to discern between them and
Right.
find a source that you're comfortable with. And, that's how the tribe is kind of assembled. Over the last year, we created a kind of a small group, and we didn't know how far it was going to go, how many people were going to draw. There's about 1,200 people that follow the channel. It's not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to assemble all the tribe that got it and wanted to continue to advance what they were doing with others going through the same things. And none of us were going to have the same stories. We weren't
Right.
supposed to. So when I make references to beyond Earth sentience, I'm referencing the information Dave gave me because Dave is definitely an expert in that area. When I talk about the craft that I've seen in the sky, I reference Jamie and Corey in McLeod because their property, you can see that pretty much any day of the week if you want to pay attention to what's going on there. These are the specialists that are bringing real information to us instead of listening to others like it's a newscast. And when somebody else tells the story, it comes with their particular twist on the story. It's just our nature. I'll
Yeah.
allow you to intercede now because that's enough to go
Well,
on.
I'd like to add that, when you say your higher self is riding shotgun, that's a good point because there's a duality. Because as we exist in this dimension, we also must exist in a dimension where we allow our spirit guides or our beyond earth sentient guides or our guardian angels to communicate with us. So that's the other half.
You
And
know,
we
that
can,
whole thing, and I don't want to interrupt, but I need to say this. It's a preview of where we're going. What they're showing
right,
us and what we're revealing
right,
to us
right,
is our next level of experience. Here's our next level of reality. It's
right.
being shown to us so that we can share it and help others ready themselves for their own experience in the same way.
Well, let me just point something out about staying in our lane. Like, so I revealed some information about the crystal technology of this perfectly polished, optically polished quartz, pure quartz cylinder that chromosomal and DNA information can be stored in. And this is a gift that comes from ancient Atlantis that has been received and kept by the Galactic Council of Scientists in Taurus. And this is information that they'll reveal to humanity so that we can keep permanent records of animals, humans, everything. It's like a crystal arc that's been embedded with light. And at any time, information about that reality can be retrieved from the crystal and reproduced into living matter. Well, I guarantee it, there's going to be members that think they're in the tribe that have watched us because they watch us all the time, Lowell, and then they start spewing out the stuff that we talked about in their own version. I guarantee
Yeah.
you guys, all of a sudden they're going to start talking about crystal technology, crystal storage mechanisms, all this stuff, but none of them are going to know what I'm talking about because they're going to hear it and then they're going to sit there and do their talking head business and all of a sudden pretend like it's their idea. Well, guess what, folks? It's not my idea. You see, I'm in my own path. So I only channel the information they've given me that they told me that I'm allowed to share with humanity. Hey guys, I've said this from the beginning. There are things that have been revealed to me that are also a little disturbing, and some of them are deeply sad. And it's
Yeah.
only about our own behavior and thoughts. And so they showed me these things in order to help me adjudicate my own soul and make a decision on how I choose to think 100% of the time. But we're on our path because these aren't necessarily ideas that come from some creative font. I was somebody else before I was approached by Beyond Earth Sentience. I was an entirely different human. I thought I was still a nice guy, but I was somebody else. And then they put me on the path of righteousness, of the truth, that to be in service of others meant to be healed, to heal thyself, to remember that your thoughts follow you throughout your days, and to only think thoughts that are of goodness and helpfulness. And so when you practice that, it's like being a Buddhist or being a Tibetan monk who's practiced for years. It's no different what Lowell and I and James Gilliland or Mary Rodwell are members of this group, our tribe, our family on your channel. The people that come in and say, "Hey, thanks very much, Lowell and Dave. It was really nice." You guys are just as in tune as we are. And Lowell and I want to extend a big thank you to your fellowship. The way that you come onto the channel and you guys leave comments, it's very deep and it's very meaningful for Lowell and I to know that we have touched you in some way emotionally or have activated you some way. And it's such a pleasure to get feedback from this community. But we're on our own path. And that's why we don't talk shit about other people and we don't talk trash about things that we don't know about. Because if we did that, our heavenly guides will remove the abilities that we have.
Yes. Yeah.
They've asked us to walk on a very straight path and to only reveal the gifts that they tell us to reveal when they tell us.
You know, the most valuable reminder I get is that we are all on our own individual journeys with our own set of lessons we're learning. When we criticize somebody else, we don't allow them, first of all, to continue on their journey and learn their lessons. And when I do that, it creates a trial. A trial is when you've inserted yourself into someone else's business without their invitation. And now you've
Bingo.
created a karmic cord that needs to be cleared because in order for you to ascend, all your karma has got to be settled. Why do you insist on that kind of behavior and inserting yourself into somebody else's situations? It's
Yeah,
not up to us to do that.
right. I mean,
In
when people,
the beauty in the end of it is that whatever experiences they're having that get lodged into their akashic records, sooner or later, that all feeds the collective consciousness. And I
right,
benefit from that in the long run. So why in the world would I want to disturb what somebody else is going through
totally,
when in the end I will benefit from it and I
right,
didn't have to go through it?
right. So the underlying message that Lowell and I have for our family, all of you that are listening, the underlying message is when you stay on your own pathway and you don't borrow from other people and you think, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to add that to my belief system and then spit it out. See, it's different when you hear something that makes sense and you utilize that information because it has healed you in some way or has helped you have clarity about a complex feeling or thought. But when you start just hearing things and repeating things, then you sort of take away from the original foundation of the pathway in which you've laid.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've never asked anyone to walk my pathway. But it's an insult when I hear other people in the community say beyond earth sentience or blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? It's David Wallace. I'm the only person on the planet that started calling our friends from heaven beyond earth sentience. And why do I do
Correct.
that? Why do I say that? I say that because they're not aliens. They're not extraterrestrial, right? They're beyond earth sentience. They're sentient species from far beyond our world who love us and care about us. They don't fly around in UFOs and UAPs. They fly around in beautiful, beautiful constructions that are known as interstellar conveyance. And I may not be the first person to coin that term, but believe me, if anyone wants to talk about crystal technology, about storing human DNA in a crystal, you better fucking reference me, let me tell you, because I don't like it when people talk shit about other genuine souls that are in this tribe.
Yes.
And I'm I'm almost at the point now where I'm going to name names in the future and say, hey, this person is a false prophet. You remember Jesus telling us about false prophets in the Bible? Remember when he went to the temple and overturned the money tables? How dare they do that stuff at a holy place like that? And this is the same thing. I mean, we watch these big personalities in the UFO community talk shit. And all it does is it tears apart the community. But members of tribe, members of our family, my heart is connected to you. My heart is connected to your tribe, Lowell. I love your followership and I feel them. When I read their comments, I feel them and I think, gosh, what a wonderful person. And I send them love. See, this is why we don't have to convince each other of anything.
Yeah.
We don't
You
even
know
have to
that.
we don't have to talk. Just stay
Yeah.
on your path and talk about that divine message. Don't go, oh, let's talk about the planets. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this gateway. Let's talk about this reptilian attack. Let's talk. That's all crap. And it's really shocking for me, but it's a learning curve, even for guys like me. And I don't think I'm that special, believe it or not. I've had a lot of experience and I have very deep feelings and very deep intuition. But when I hear people that I have known and trusted all of a sudden start going off and into regions where you're not talking about what you originally came into the tribe for. You came in saying that you were an expert on polishing rocks or doing ceramics or organic culture or speaking to the species from Lyra. Why all of a sudden are you now talking about the reptilian army from the underground base in the Ukraine? It just makes me want to throw up. So really, let's protect our souls. Let's protect our own individual sovereignty and our rights to be able to offer new things to the community. The only reason I use the words beyond earth sentience is because Kim Jim told me that was a nice way to show respect to them without tearing them down by using other terms which demonize them. I don't know anything about Lemuria except that I'd love to go there. Everything I know, I've learned from you. And when I've seen other sources talking about Lemuria, they totally fall short, Lowell. They don't have the
Yeah.
intuition and they don't have that deep love and that deep message that you do. So you're my source for understanding Lemuria. And that's why you're one of my greatest friends and allies, because I protect your sovereignty to have your own communication. Please, people, stop listening
Yeah.
to people that talk about 15 different subjects because it just confuses you. They're not
Yeah.
tribe. They're money launderers. Flip the table on the temple and get back to earth.
That was great.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, oh, and also I wanted to remind everybody today's our big day to say a prayer for 5 or 10 minutes and send that hopeful, we've got your signal, we got your message, you've helped us wake up, and we're sending it
Yes.
right back out to you guys. And God bless all the species in our galaxy. God bless all the heavenly messengers. And certainly God bless you and everybody else that we're in touch with, because what holds this together is integrity and telling the truth and being honest with each other all the time. It isn't about how much you know. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Leverage the blue moon energy today.
whoa,
Yes.
whoa. Oh my goodness. That was so beautiful too. So beautiful to
Hmm.
watch it set over the ocean. And I'm
If
so
you
lucky to
have
see that.
any energetic sense at all, you felt something between the full moon at the beginning of the month and what's happening right now. And
Totally.
some shift over these 48 hours. I feel it. It's happening. Um,
Yeah.
I really want to see what that manifests into.
Yeah. And it's nice too, because you mentioned it without pretending that you're an astrological expert.
All
So
right.
this is the thing. It's like, of course, my friend Laura, who is a bio naturalist and an organic naturalist, she is very in touch with astrological body movements, and astrology is the first astronomy. Astrology is the first science, and our forefathers who were living 150,000 years ago or a million years ago that followed the movement of the stars were
Mhm.
receiving information. Were receiving information when they looked up at the stars to understand the sky and the nature of the heavens many, many, many millennia ago. Well, guess what? The same species who contact us were contacting those humans who lived back then.
Yeah.
And so they've been guiding us and watching us, and they're happy for us. They're so happy for us because we have each other, you know, we really do. And so everything else just comes up ridiculous. And I'm not angry at other people. I'm just disappointed. So don't confuse my passion about staying in your own lane. And by the way, Lowell is the one that reminded me of that term. So, it's his term, and I just laugh so hard because that's exactly what it is. Stay in your own damn lane. Don't pretend to be something that you're not. Like if anybody wants to know about what's going on with the Galactic Council of Scientists that reside in the Taurus cloud, then let's fire it up and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I can tell you
Pull
guys
up a
all
chair and
kinds of stuff.
listen to Dave. That's
I
right.
can talk. Believe me, there's so much cool stuff going on. I could talk for hours about that. I can talk for hours about spaceships and interstellar conveyance technology and physicality. And they showed me everything. Beyond Earth sentience, they make love to each other. How come all of a sudden everyone thinks that they have children out of a test tube or some sort of bogus replicator? No, Beyond Earth sentients have a penis and they insert it into the Beyond Earth sentient reproductive organ of the female and they give birth. They give live birth. It's just not something they talk about or make a big deal about. They're species as well. You know,
Yeah.
there's something true, very true, when they say that we were created in the image of the divine creator.
Yes.
Because if you really think about it, species that look very extraordinary and very delicate with elongated fingers and arms and very large craniums, they're actually us, but they're like 400,000 years or 4 million years ahead of us. They were species that have preserved their own integrity and their own genetic integrity by not destroying their environment, not destroying themselves over
Yeah.
stupid things like greed and ego. So really, they're closer to nature than a lot of us are. And like I've been saying, it's really important to emulate Mother Nature, not each other. Love and support each other by all means. Like,
You know, it illuminates the idea that we're living in a third dimensional density. We're still in a place where duality is the rule of the day. And in order for humans to make any sense of it, we have to give it a label.
right,
And once it has a label, then we find that in order to understand context, there's an opposite side of that. So when we learn the good stuff about this, we're going to learn the bad stuff about it too. And thank God, that's part of our contribution to what our experiences have been. Those beings you're talking about are that that sidekick I was telling you that rides along with me. That's their perspective. They see things from a higher perspective, and they don't get all drudged down into what they think that they know.
right,
That's where we are. However, you know, the reason that Dave and I decided to talk about our experiences at all was to share it so that others could understand what change the earth is going through and what effect that's going to have on all sentient life here. Earth herself is a sentient being, and she's going through her own stage of evolution. And we are this far away from her reaching the next level. This is why all these people are waking up right now. That's why all of these things are coming to us right now, because our higher aspects and all this other help that's coming our way from higher realms is trying to get our attention before the earth moves into her new level of vibration.
right,
They're trying to assist us to get there too, so when new earth appears,
right.
we are ready for that.
And you know absolutely why. We know absolutely why they've done it this way. You know, it's not the first time they've come down to wake us up. We've been turned into slave races in millennia ago.
Right.
But what they wanted us to know is that they evolved as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
20,000 years ago, listen,
everything's evolving.
the flood, the biblical flood wasn't, 10,000 years ago. It had
Mm,
happened several times
yes.
over many long periods of time. And so it's part of our genetic memory, the Great Flood.
Yeah.
And some of this planetary movement, the solar flares and the way the Earth is, some species have the technology to affect our sun and to affect where our planet's located. All right. There are some very powerful species that have the technology that can actually latch onto a planet and drag it into another solar system. And I know that's hard to think about, but it's true. So we cannot deny our heavenly messengers the love that they want to give to us. That's why I'm glued to my path. You could meet me down at the beach and, we could go body surfing and have a good time and we could be friends for a few weeks and you might find that you don't like me. Well, that's fine because I'm just a man. The only reason I'm on Lowell's tribe channel is because of my experience. It's been, I've met a lot of people within the community that all wanted to use me like they're my pimp and then derive income off of my story. And I finally found Lowell where I was able to sit and talk about what happened. And it's really wonderful because I don't feel used. And it's really important in relationships that we don't feel used. People sometimes are attracted to people for the wrong reason when it should be the right reason. And if anybody ever wants to know about the heavenly message I receive every day, I would love to just sit and tell you guys how much they love us. But there is a plan. And since they've evolved, they no longer come and do wipeouts. There was a period in Earth's history when there was a lot of cannibals and warriors. All right. Cannibals were eating other humans, and there was a lot of them. And there was no way to stop them all. So they just sent a big tidal wave and wiped them all out and started over. There's been a lot of wipeouts, but they don't do that anymore. The reason that there's the ambassador program and the reason that they have been contacting millions of humans on the planet is to allow you to make the change so that you become as wonderful and loving as a person as possible. And that makes you ready for the big change that's coming. And all of the people that haven't been able to receive the message, either because they have black souls or because they're being controlled and given chemicals and drugs to make them into zombies, the only people that don't receive the message from our heavenly messengers are the ones that will be left in the old earth, because it's not their time to wake up, or they will be given another opportunity to awaken and move forward from their dimension. But we're being thrust forward into the fourth dimension, everybody.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
we're taking the beautiful earth with us. All of the beautiful creatures, all of the water will be pure. Everything will be reset. All right. All of the humans that follow the transition of this fourth dimensional earth, in which we are moving up to very quickly, will be able to understand and hear the trees speak and understand that all life is sacred. We will become the new children of the sun, and we will inhabit the earth, much like special native peoples did many millennia ago, before greed and corruption and technology destroyed our souls. We will be returned to this beautiful place, but the difference is we will have the memory of the bad days and the bad ways, and we will never commit these things again, because it will be a whole world made whole again by our heavenly creator from source. And we will all be there, and it'll be a beautiful world, and there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Just stay on your path and keep your heart full of hope and love, and be as compassionate and kind to everything around you as you can. And it's such a hard task. I know that I ask a lot when I ask people to keep their heart full of compassion. And it takes a lot of years practice, but there's lots of time for us to get it right, so that when the big change happens, we'll all be with each other. And
Well,
you'll be
there.
surprised. It won't be much different than it is now. We'll still have
True.
the beautiful earth we have. It's just all the evil bastards will be gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That element, we'll see through it, and we don't have to
Right,
dwell on that anymore. We've
right,
just been stuck there, and it wasn't like we had not been manipulated with in the past.
right.
I wonder, and I wanted to say, should we have evolved sooner than we did? Part of me, in my ego, says, "Oh yeah, if we were manipulated, we'd probably already ascended," and that's
Yeah,
not true, because Earth is in her own ascension first. She's
right,
in a cosmic cycle, and she's not tied to anything else on top of her that affects her sentient being. She is moving into this new realm like the rest of us. We spend what, 80 to 100 years in these carbon bodies here on the planet, and then we're gone. She
right,
continues to go on just like the universe. So we're stepping into a place where we're going to be able to feel the things she does, see things from that perspective. And quite honestly, we're already there. Dave said before that we've already ascended, and we have, which is why we can speak so intelligently about that perspective. We see it, we
right,
live it,
right,
and we're
right,
trying to just expand that to everybody else. I'm not
right,
here to convince you of it. I'm here to reveal what I know about it. And if it resonates with you, we can continue our conversation from there, because your tribe, and clearly you had a curiosity about something you felt that you didn't quite understand. But man, has it happened at an accelerated rate. For as long as we've been on this path, every day I still hear from somebody else new on the planet that kind of got triggered in some way and just felt that this was a place where it was safe to come and have these conversations and talk to people like Dave, Chantel, Robin, Yedi Yamaya. The list goes on. There are people that have, that they're authentic about what they're talking about, and that there's something about their light that's infectious, and you just want to know more about them. Whatever it is that they're talking about is interesting, but there's something that draws us to one another, and it's expanding. Neither Dave nor I are interested in worrying about whether this is going to go out and all of a sudden affect the millions. I
right.
suspect somewhere soon down the road, it's going to have that very effect. But that
Yeah.
wasn't our intention. No,
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 it's
we're
it's
happy talking about it with one another, and we get it and we see what's going on. I'm not
absolutely.
here to convince anybody else. I'm here to assist those that get it.
Hallelujah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what my job is too, Lowell. And I'm going to borrow that line from you. It's like the things that are most important to me are that people respect all life, be kind to all animals, stop hunting them, cherish the moment because the earth is such a gift, and that thoughts are things. And, I don't want credit for that. Like I said, in the very early days when I was working with Lowell, speaking publicly, I didn't come up with that. Thoughts are things. I'm sure the Buddha said that and Confucius said that. So many wise people have said that. So I just like you guys to remember, just like King Solomon said in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So whatever you are on the inside will manifest itself to control your life, and your outward movements, appearance, everything you do will be based on the very secret feelings of your heart. So remember, release anything that isn't your pure self. Stay on your path of crystal vision, of beautiful brightness, of beautiful receptive love. Look to the heavens often and ask for guidance from source. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to call source God. God loves all of us very much. Don't be afraid to ask help from Jesus or Buddha or Allah or any of the heavenly messengers. They are all truly foundations of love. And if you need help, ask for it. And if you don't feel like you're getting that help from the heavens, just work on it, because the heavens want to speak to you and they want to make your life beautiful. They want you to be whole. And more importantly, actually, is they want us to be happy. Because when we're happy, then nothing but good springs from us. Everything that comes from your hands and the work that you do comes from the message that Source sends to your heart. Your heart receives the message, your hands do the work of your heart. Listen to Source, listen to your common sense, and listen to your heart, and everything will be fine. Stay in your path. And I want to thank you, Lowell, for reminding me of that term, because it's stay in your lane. It's stay in your lane. Don't worry about coming across as an expert on anything. Like I said, the only thing I really know a lot about is the technology and the species at Taurus. I don't know anything about Pleiadians. I don't know anything about Lyrans. I don't know anything about reptilians or any of the other ones. I know that they're there, but they're not in my purview. They haven't focused on me because I've already been enraptured by the Taurans. So that's the only thing I talk about. So be very cagey when you listen to other people. And if it resonates with your heart, then it must be true. If
You'll
your heart,
know.
right?
Yes.
Because your heart
Mhm.
never lies to you. And I wanted to also say thanks again to everybody. You all have such beautiful, accepting hearts. And it allows me an opportunity to express my love for all of you, my greatest hope for all of mankind, and for dear Lowell and all of his wonderful guests. And Chantal, we want to give her the love and the support that she deserves. And I had the very powerful sort of psychic impression that she could use some good compassionate love and some good juju. So if you guys want to send her some positive Reiki, and think about her home being a beautiful, safe place, and to send her positive feelings of safety and love, because she's a little dear soul that deserves that. And there's so many of us out there that need a little help. And
Look,
that's the
she's a blessing for us to know. What she
totally
came
so
across the other day, that just lit Dave and I up. And
right,
we had an awareness of who this child was before. When you
right.
actually
So
got to spend some time with her, wow, that
right,
just elevated itself to a whole nother level.
fully. I mean, we are tribe, and tribe
Yes.
protects tribe.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're not here to convince anybody about anything. We're here to
Yeah.
listen to
We're
you too.
we're the do no harm but take no shit tribe.
I like that. I'm gonna do no
Yes.
harm but take no shit. I love it. Well,
Mhm.
listen, Lowell, I've got to help my son get the bakery open, and
Yep.
I'm really blessed that you and I had a chance to communicate our conversation to our friends. We hope
Yeah, I
that
think it was
what
important
we've
to do
said,
this.
yeah, what we've said, I hope it resonates with everybody. Stay in your lane, concentrate on that which you know, and concentrate on the message that your heart receives from Source. And then just be yourselves and be happy and loving. And we love you so much. And I'm so glad to be here and be part of this family because I can't see myself really anyplace else. And I've derived a lot of safety and hope and good feelings from Lowell and his community. And I want to be here for the rest of my life. So God bless you guys and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Dave. See
Nice
you
to
all
see you, Lowell.
later.
Bye, guys.